second show. This one we have a guest by the name of Erik Brantley.
Yes.
So we're going to test Eric's mic out until you get him mic'd up.
All right.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. I want to make sure that this is public.
Not so animated this time, okay? Like I said, I'll never tell you no, so if you do, you do.
You know, if I didn't believe in it as much as I did.
Okay.
I don't want you to have a heart attack on me either. There's your mic back there. You'll have to, you know how it works, where you have to tuck it underneath your shirt and bring it up through the top.
Okay.
Okay, anything in particular you want to add?
You know, some of that stuff that you had already touched on, but you know, we talk all the time about the 2016 election. We talk all the time about the candidates running for governor, some candidates running for Senate, and I'm also working on people running for state Senate, House rep. So
Okay, what I'm doing, I open the show, you know, just, we can go with the flow. We actually, we don't rehearse. We
Want to know they can hear me
once in a
just
while
fine.
we have notes, but not today. You know,
just want to make sure they can hear me just fine. Is this live on YouTube right now?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay.
It's live actually right now.
Okay.
They're getting to see the show while we're getting ready to film our actual TV show.
Right.
Because I don't have a remote that I can hit. So they get to watch us go
Got
through
it.
the mess, and they get to see the green wall. Where on
Okay.
the
Yeah.
show, there is no green wall.
Got you.
We have actually a picture of the Mackinac Bridge behind
yeah,
us.
so you'll be on
Okay.
the bridge.
Okay. Good.
So,
Quite a distance from where I live at.
and by the way, I didn't tell Sue thank you for joining. She was on here.
Sue Dotson.
Yes, Sue Dotson was on here.
Oh, this is live going actually on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was YouTube. Oh no, I see it live. Okay, good. Yeah. Sue Dotson, if you're seeing me right now, thank you for joining. You could have been a part of this, and it's been very interesting.
Oh, I welcome anybody who wants to be a guest on our show.
Yes, yes.
Next week I'll bring my glasses, because.
Then you can have your regular seat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is a it's a random show.
Right.
Maybe as things progress, we might start actually getting into a
Debate.
actual show where we have a script, not a script, but an actual program.
Right.
Yeah, this is Erik Brantley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is Erik Brantley. He's our first guest on Political Talk. So,
We're gonna check your mic.
okay,
So if you just want to,
Can you hear me just fine?
he's gonna check it.
say you're like ABCs or something.
When he's
Okay.
done.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah.
He'll tell
Eric,
you
you
what-
want something back, Eric?
Oh, yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Go over your mic.
Can you hear me too?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
ABCs?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G? That's as far as I know.
H. H I J K L M N O P.
You might as well finish it, Todd.
Q R S T U V W X Y and Z.
Here you are on Sesame Politics.
Hey, did you hear that on Sesame Street? That new adult movie coming out? Not adult movie. It's a rated R movie.
All right, guys, I think we're getting close here.
All right.
Okay.
so,
Okay. Okay.
I mean, we can keep talking until you're ready. I'm
Yeah.
sure Facebook Live is
But
enjoying our
excellent that David
Sesame
Holtz was
Street.
here. And like I said, for future
Okay,
reference,
you
David
guys ready to
Holtz.
go?
Okay.
If David Holtz was here, this would be perfect. Or Sue Dotson.
Okay, welcome to Politics, Political Talk.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Political Talk. For those that were in our last show, I'm calm. Okay. This is a show with no cue cards, no idiot boards, no teleprompters, just ad-lib conversation. Whatever comes out of our mouths, we don't know. Kind of like that woman on Golden Girls.
Okay.
Yeah. Todd is on my left, and I'm on the right.
And we have
Okay.
Erik
And I'm also-
Brantley in the middle.
And I lean to the left, by the way. So
Okay,
I'm just
so-
sitting in the middle, but politically I lean left. So let's just say that.
Okay, Eric is our guest
Oh, you had to
tonight.
make sure you put that in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Maybe I should have sat in the middle. Though.
Okay. Well, no, because he'd be on the right and he doesn't like that. But you know,
But
we're on the same
technically,
page.
He's over here.
Well,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
good time on the
We might have
left.
to end this right now because this gets too high.
Well,
He would be on the. Me and Bohemians agree that we don't like Donald Trump. So
No, that's a fact.
we got that part established.
Yeah, we're on the same side.
How you doing, Chris?
So, tell us about yourself.
Well, as they already stated, my name is Erik Brantley. This is the one I'm looking at, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so Erik Brantley. I was always primarily a Democrat voter, and recently I've had conversations with people like Todd Schleiger and some people who are independent who are running for Michigan office. Some of you might be familiar with like Marsha Squire and people who I know that vote green. So they've kind of, you can say, shown me the way. I've kind of seen the light, metaphorically speaking, and what I do right now is I do live webcasts, amateur on Facebook, where I bring on politicians and public figures and business people who I do it for the purpose to help with name recognition and platform exposure. So, not too long ago, I had a businesswoman on there, and she talked, she does a affiliate marketing, and she works from home, mainly to take a break from politics because it does get heated after a while.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, we
And
know how that goes.
I was recently elected as trustee to the Romulus Democrats Club, and some people that are in that club, they were involved in presidential campaigns for a long time since Bill Clinton was reelected. So these are the type of people that I work with, and I've also been promoting, like I said, I've gotten more with the progressive organizations like Our Revolution. So now we support agendas like ban fracking and $15 minimum wage, universal health care, Medicare for all, higher education. So that's what I'm with.
Let me ask you, when a politician tells you they're going to do something,
Mhm.
how do you take that, whether it be Democrat or Republican? I mean, because they come out, when I ran differently. I ran in that I wanted the people to tell me what they wanted. What my job was to make sure that I told them the truth and that I was unbiased, because how can they make a good decision unless they know the true facts? Now, if I'm going to say something and I slant it or I put it in a context so that they do agree with me, I don't think that's right, because whatever I did, they had to live with it and they had to pay for it. But the responsibility, in my estimation, for any representative, my job is to cast the vote. It doesn't belong to me personally.
Right.
It belongs to them. And the way I cast it is hopefully the change will come for their district, their home, their school, their front lawn, their driveway, whatever the case may be. But I vote for them in there. Now, if I belong to a party, that's fine. But sometimes the party can be wrong.
Yeah.
Or sometimes the opposition has something, not maybe the whole idea, but something that, hey, maybe that's not a bad idea. So to say, and I guess my question is, how diehard are you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was always diehard Democrat up until like just recently. Now, there are some Democrats I'm still supporting in certain areas.
Okay.
I have people that are,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, I have people who are progressive minded who are running as Democrats, say, and I have two of them running in Washington County. One's running for state Senate, the other's running for state rep. And then there's other areas where I'm promoting independence and green. So like we have an independent candidate who's running for U.S. Senate to take Debbie Stabenow's place. And then we have a green, Jennifer Curlin, who's running for governor. So recently I've gotten more to the point where, okay, so I guess I am more for the person. So now I wouldn't call myself directly party affiliated.
How about the solution?
Now to answer your, well, yeah, and to answer your question about if a politician tells me something, what do I think? Well, it's like this. So, for example, depending on what they might say, so if you have a politician who believes more in cutting the money from housing, education, and Social Security and Medicaid because they believe in more spending for militarism and war, okay, I understand it. I'm not for it. Number one, as a person, I'm anti-war. I believe that we should we need to level the field and balance the budget as far as, well, if they don't want to take away all the militarism money to spend in it, then why can't they take a portion of it? If they add more to the housing budget, for example, they can see how it would be beneficial to, to certain vicinity, not only the real estate industry, but also to people who want higher education, people who need healthcare, to those who can't afford it. So there are some ideologies that I don't necessarily, I'm still not a Republican voter. That's pretty much a given right now. You know this right now.
I can't say that.
Well, so far, I'll tell you this, in my life, I have never, now there's some Republicans I can respect as individuals, and politicians I don't care for them, but I don't agree with cutting the For People programs to advance the pro-war programs.
No, I agree with that.
And Republicans tend to think more that way. Most of them, though.
See, it seems to be an all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, you mentioned two problems. You mentioned housing and military.
Right.
Okay. It has to be Democrats are this and Republicans are this.
Right.
Why can't it be, well, we need this much of this, which will take care of everything, and then this much in housing? You can have both at a reasonable amount. Okay, we do need to defend ourselves. We
Yes.
don't need to start wars.
Right.
Well, this is where I'm gonna chime in on this part. Okay, all right, that issue that you're bringing up right now where you're saying we need this over here for this military spending and this
No,
for housing. I'm not saying that particularly.
No, what I'm
Where
saying
the
is.
issue is what the parties are, is the lobbyists.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
That's where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to change what you're
No,
pointing out.
that's.
But the lobbyists are the issues right here.
Mhm.
Both parties are going by what their lobbyists are paying for.
But who should the lobbyist be? Shouldn't it be the voter?
That's who it should be. But
Yeah.
here's the problem.
The lobbyists are the
Okay.
corporate people.
Both parties have changed their ideologies. And we brought this up on the last show. The problem is the ideologies that we've known as growing up is completely different now that it's in Erik's generation.
Mhm.
I have to disagree with that.
Okay.
I think the ideology is exactly the same. Government for sale. Who can give me the most money? Who can keep me in power the most? Who can make my life better? My life better.
That's one of the main
Okay.
things I would love to do.
Here's
I would
a
love to
question.
get rid of the lobbyist
Tell me
money.
this. Name me, just to have some fun.
Yeah. Which is what I'm doing.
The one politician, think of the one politician that you have absolutely the most respect for, living or dead, whatever. And why?
Okay, you know what? So I have a lot of respect for Bernie Sanders, Barack Obama. Let's just start with those two right now, because I have more. Okay, well, here's the thing. Bernie Sanders has demonstrated that he is definitely a for the people's candidate. What excuse me? What kills me is this. What kills me is people always tell me that far left ideology is what's destroying this country. Well, how are you saying that something is destroying the country when it hasn't even been implemented yet? Like you've always been saying, we've been stuck with these two parties, and the Democrats are actually not as far left as I once thought they were, as what they perceived themselves to be at a point in time. And the Republicans, as we know, have been nowhere near that point. So how do we know for something that hasn't been there? We can't just say, okay, you know what, let's just throw that in there. If they fail, then I'll say, well, you know what, okay, I was wrong, but I wanted to give it a shot. To me, that's why it was too good to be true that Bernie Sanders was going to get elected in 2016. I did support him though. I did end up voting for Hillary in the general because I supported her as well.
You know what? I got to throw something in about Bernie Sanders.
Right.
At the convention,
How do you feel about him?
I liked him. I respected him. I fell in love with him when she got the nomination, and he sat there and he said, "I'm behind you."
So you were more for her overall.
No,
Did you vote for him in the primary?
no, I did vote for her.
Okay.
But the thing was, he unified. He said, what I saw with the Republicans was weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's gonna make me go on a rant.
the stuff that I saw, things like,
But
I'm the only one.
you do realize that the youth or the millennials felt, what's the word I'm looking for? Rejected when Bernie got behind Hillary.
But let me add to that.
They were also because of the fact that with the corruption from the DNC,
Well,
they didn't agree with
let me add to that part right there. And this is what a lot of people are not looking at. I hope you people can hear this.
Oh, yeah.
So let me tell you this right now. To a lot of the millennials, this question goes to a lot of you. Maybe somebody can answer this question. To those of you that were caught up in the fake agenda and the false narrative that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are the same, well, let me ask you a question. Why out of the two candidates did Bernie Sanders choose to get between her as opposed to Trump? Now, that ought to let a lot of you know something right there. Now, with what I learned recently, I'm quite disappointed in the DNC. They elevated Donald Trump because they thought he was an easy candidate to beat. Now, that assumption passed quite well for Ted Cruz and Ben Carson, but
I don't think he did either.
well, no, I have no respect for Cruz or Carson either. But
I like Kasich.
I don't know enough about Kasich, so I can't heavily
Yeah,
opine on him.
morals.
Well, I'll put it like this. You know, a lot of vote blue no matter who people think that the vote was split in 2016. Well, let's keep in mind that Hillary still won the popular vote while the Electoral College said, you know what, we want Trump. Okay, that's all good in games and whatever. But it doesn't mean that I don't believe necessarily in the idea of not voting at all and then act surprised when the person you don't want is in there when they claim they didn't want the other person either. And a lot of people acted like voting for Gary Johnson or Jill Stein was somehow going to help that. And I have respect for Gary and Jill. I think they're cool. I think
I like
pretty all right.
Gary Johnson's his running mate. I like him. He was good.
I don't know his running mate because I didn't really know Gary until like election day or right before that.
Well, the one thing that
I don't even know who Jill Stein's running mate was. Was it Baraka? Was it Juma Baraka or
I didn't pay no attention to those two, so
okay,
I'm sorry.
It was one of those. Well, here's my thing about that. So this is the thing, and a lot of the people out here who are vote blue, no matter who, I need somebody to answer this question too. How is it that you think that? Okay, so I understand the concept of not Michael Beggs joined, and so did Sue Dotson. Okay, so Sue Dotson. This question is for people like you. I'm sorry, it says audio
Keeps dying.
Okay.
I apologize for that. It shouldn't be. Maybe we'll just speak up a little louder for you.
Well, I'll put it like this. So my question goes for Sue Dotson and a lot of my friends who are vote blue, no matter who. I understand the concept that you cannot walk in somebody else's house and tell them what to do. People, I know a lot of you felt that that's what Bernie Sanders did in 2016. I know he's not like the head of the DNC or anything, but what Bernie was talking about was if we reform our strategies and we need to reorganize how we go about this, then we can manage to defeat Donald Trump and the Republicans. But unfortunately, Hillary Clinton and her team said, no, we're going to do it our way. And that was something that Bernie and Hillary could not reach a compromise. They couldn't agree. So therefore, a lot of people already saw it as the election goes to Trump, which is another factor that persuaded people to not vote. People have to learn to reach a compromise because, like I said, our system has been controlled by two parties for 165 years. And what Bernie is saying is Al Gore and John Kerry made the same mistake essentially in 2004, which is why we got Bush. So now this history is repeating itself. So now we're stuck with Trump because the DNC once again ran a lazy campaign.
I gotta tell you, I've never disliked a candidate. I had my views.
I dislike plenty of them.
Trump is bizarre.
That's an understatement.
Bush, okay, I did not agree with a lot of what.
I had no respect for Bush either.
But I got
a war criminal who let the economy tank and he did nothing to help. Yeah. Come on now.
No, I'm just saying if I had my choice, not between him and Trump, it's not terrible.
All right, I got a question for you.
It's like eight.
And this. I figure I better cut this one off right now. But I do have a question for us. Okay, and this is also welcome to anybody who's on Facebook Live listening to us and watching us.
Yeah, go ahead and send your answers in.
I welcome anybody to answer this question. All right, now this is just based on Michigan.
Oh, I know exactly the question you're going to ask. I should say this part. I know the script, everybody. I know the script.
It's not a script, but this is one of the main questions I ask a lot of people.
Oh, I know.
Okay. If anybody, even in production here, can tell me one good thing that a Democrat or a Republican has done for the people of Michigan.
Yeah.
And I mean just Michigan. I don't want you branching off into the United States or some other state. I want you to answer that question for Michigan. Because I can tell you right now, nothing.
Are you talking current?
I'm talking current all the way back for the last 40 years.
He's talking Granholm, he's talking England, he's talking Blanchard, all of them.
I can.
All right, I'm listening.
Okay.
Dennis Archer. And
boy, you reached back on that one.
Wait. Who was that?
Phil Ruby.
Frank
Dennis
Kelly.
Archer. No, Dennis Archer. Who's that?
Frank Kelly.
The mayor of Detroit.
Oh,
that's not what I'm talking about.
And
I'm
Supreme Court Justice.
Okay, hold on a second.
No. Okay. Out of these two parties as a governor, which one of them has done something good for the people of Michigan?
William Milliken.
You know, your age on me there is James Blanchard, no.
Wait a second, you said Wilbert Milk? I don't know who that is.
William Milliken?
Okay, I was born in 1994, so I just want to let you know that a lot of these people you're naming, I was, like I said,
these are well before even me.
I was born into the Engler administration, and I didn't even know about governor until Granholm stepped in.
I mean, right now, like I get a laugh out of this right now. Under Schneider's administration right now,
the worst governor we've had.
They're toting that he created 540,000 jobs. Okay, that's over 8 years. And the last 4 governors, that's the lowest freaking number out of all of them, other than Granholm. I apologize for this, Jennifer, wherever you are, I should say. But
Yeah.
oh, I thought somebody actually had an answer, but they don't yet. But anyways, Jennifer Granholm. It says on her Wikipedia that she created 637,000 jobs.
Is that true?
Well, she got them to come back. Remember, they.
No, wait. She created 637,000 jobs.
That's a lot of
She
jobs.
lost 632,000. All right, so out of all those, John
No,
Engler,
if you're talking just governors,
yeah, I'm sticking
sorry.
with governors.
I have to.
Because
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because some of the
Saying
state reps,
governors.
some of the state reps have done decent things for Michigan,
Yes.
for their districts,
Yes.
but not for Michigan.
He's talking about like, so senators, representatives, they've done good for their districts. He's saying, what has a governor, a person as the governor of Michigan, done well for our state?
Because the
Because
governor
what he's saying
is
is-
over the entire state.
Right, what he's saying is either one of two things has happened with the state. Either A, we've had governors who exacerbated the situation, like what Snyder's doing, or B, we had other governors who did nothing at all. So they didn't bring to the state, they didn't take from the state. It just was a break even.
And I basically go by the last 4 governors, okay? Because that way I know the people that are alive currently know part of those governors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because we got James Blanchard, and we got John Engler, and we got Jennifer Granholm, and then we have Tricky Ricky up there.
Oh, yeah.
But
I got way worse names to call them, but we'll save that.
you look like you're ready to say something, Dave.
Well, but here's the thing. So let's just start with this, for example. Now, to refer back to what you were talking about as far as when politicians say things, how do I feel? It really depends on what is being talked about. So, for example, I'm in the city of Romulus in Wayne County, and most of the teachers that I had out there, they are, as we speak right now, and some of them are probably watching this, but we have them that are picketing and protesting outside the schools, outside school board district, because of the low wages. Well, when you have, and like I said, keep in mind, obviously those type teachers, most of them lean more Democrat, liberal. So my thing is, when you have Republican candidates like Bill Schuette, like Brian Kelly, like Rick Snyder, who basically believe that they should get paid less than what they are getting. Well, that's an immediate, well, you're not in it for us. You're in it for whatever it is your personal gain is. Keep in mind, Bill Schuette is being endorsed by the Trump administration. He's being supported by Betsy DeVos, a woman who is not for public education.
No. She never.
What are you doing for education if you're not for it?
She is invested in charter schools, and she also has businesses to collect on student loans.
Okay, my
She
teachers
has
are very
never gone into neighborhoods that I lived in.
my teachers are very anti-charter school.
I will tell you something. I'm going up, when I announce, I'm going back up to the city I grew up in. Because those teachers that I had such an influence on me, to direct me in my life, to teach me morals and ethics.
Yes.
I came up in a small town in Boyne City.
Right.
And these teachers had such an impact on me, and my life has been based on that. These were respectable, honorable people. Were they superstars? No, because probably nobody ever heard of them. But you know something? They made a difference for me.
Yes.
And a teacher is an investment because they take your kids and the education that they give them and what they receive. Now, they're not supposed to make your child. They're supposed to teach them.
Right.
They're supposed to get them ready so when they walk out that door, they have a reasonably good chance of making it.
Right.
The parents, you have your part, and then law enforcement, everyone, you have your part. Everybody has their part. But the
Wait a minute,
teachers-
where the heck did law enforcement get brought into rate as?
No.
Okay, wait a second.
Okay. You do have to respect the law.
Well,
You have to
yeah.
respect the law. Okay, you get a driver's license, you respect the law. You get some, you have to learn responsibility. You don't learn that in school. That's something that you learn as you grow up.
Your parents should be teaching you.
Well, your parents teach you, your church, if you go to a church, they teach you.
Yeah.
Everybody's teaching this kid. A kid is going to be grabbing information, mostly, around the age of 10. That's when it really starts filtering in. Okay. From then until they're 18, they're going to absorb so much, and that is going to direct their life.
I hope they absorb after they're 18 as well.
They will. But
Yes.
that's in a child's life.
I understand what you're saying, but it just kind of was weird that you brought law enforcement into
Well,
raising
no.
kids.
I'm not bringing law enforcement. I'm saying respect for the laws.
Right.
respect for each other.
Right.
You don't
But-
go up to someone and slap someone. You don't go up and, look what happened today with Roseanne Barr.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It's
I did.
disgusting.
She called a black woman an ape.
She did?
Roseanne said that on a tweet.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Actually, she said more than that. But see, she put it out on the airwaves. And this is how we have become. We have not even learned to talk to people.
They've been calling. They said that about the Obama family for years too. So let me tell you, it's like this is the hypocrisy of America, and this is why this country is more divisive now than it's been in a long time. People who have thrown out all this hate towards the Obamas and saying what they look like and all this, they have no problem saying that. But the minute you have, I don't know, say a comedian like Kathy Griffin who holds up a fake severed head, they get pissed off about that. They get pissed off when they have no problem with Donald Trump calling countries S-hole countries, or a lot of the racist rhetoric that he spewed and the hate, the bullying, the cyberbullying he does on Twitter. They have no problem with any of that, but the minute a liberal celebrity steps in and says something offensive about him, when Bill Maher or DL or people like that go live and they say F you to Trump, well, that became offensive all of a sudden. So people can't just admit that, hey, we're just a partisan nation. And I have that same bias too, where he might make a statement and it's either I don't care about it or I'm against it. There's very little of what Donald Trump says that I've actually agreed with, or something that he said that makes
I got
sense.
to tell you something that he did that you can call it brilliant. You
Michael.
can call it.
Yeah, I like that. He says, "Go, Eric."
You can call
Thank
it
you, Beggs.
brilliant. You can call it asinine, however you want to. When he was running just before the presidential or the primary in Pennsylvania,
Who, Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Okay.
and he came out, you recall what he said?
In Pennsylvania, not at that exact moment. Refresh my memory.
Well, he said it many, many times, but in Pennsylvania, it's really stuck.
Uh-huh.
If I lose this election, the system is rigged.
He said that in the third debate.
He said.
I remember he said that, but
He said it today. If I lose, the system is rigged. See, if I lose,
here he goes.
this is it was very funny because in the baseball playoffs, this was funny.
You know what? It's funny that you said that. I'm sorry to cut you, but right quick, let me just lay this on the table. To those of you that are, I really want to direct this to a lot of people who support Donald Trump, and you agree with him that had he lost the election, that it means it was rigged for Hillary. Okay, well, why is it that argument can't be presented on the other side? Now that Trump wins the election, a lot of Hillary supporters think that the election is rigged. So how do we know which side is right and wrong? It probably would have been rigged either way. That's why the whole election just needs to be redone.
There was a baseball player on the Toronto Blue Jays last playoffs last year, and they lost. And he came out and he said that the game was rigged.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I laugh because, but see, everything he says, he put something in. But see, this is one thing that he did to Obama, and he keeps playing on it. And the thing is, he said that if Obama knew about the Russians, why didn't he say something? Because you already set the playing field. You already set the rules. When you said, if I lose, it's rigged. So no matter what happened, it didn't matter how it turned out.
Well,
You would have said it was rigged.
We've had on that election alone. All right,
But think about
this-
that. It put everyone in a box, in a corner, where it didn't matter.
This
There's-
whole
there's
election,
not- there-
the whole
you know what
election
I'd
in
like to do?
2016 has been like no other election.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna go into Trump's casinos, and I'm gonna stand in the middle of the room and yell, "I lost a nickel. It's rigged."
Let me tell you.
You know what?
Let me
One
put
of
it
the
like
guards would probably hand you a nickel.
let me just lay it like this. I have to agree. And like I said, there are most conservative sources that I hear, obviously, I think are nothing but hateful. But I have to agree. One conservative commentator, Ben Shapiro, who's quite well known, who has a leading podcast right now, the leading conservative podcast in the nation. He said that a much better election that probably would have come about this if it were something like Bernie Sanders versus Ted Cruz. I think something like that would have been a much cleaner race.
Yeah, but this is where I was going with this, though. Okay.
But we got Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, so.
Well, the whole thing is here, no matter how you look at it, you've got the Democrats screaming that Russia interfered with our elections.
Yes.
And you've got the Republicans not screaming as bad as they were about DNC, the corruption in the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. It was more Democrats for Bernie that were screaming about the corruption in there with Devin
Yes.
Rossman Schultz
Yes.
and
Yeah.
all this other stuff going on. And, you know,
Right.
why did Hillary end up with 530 delegates and none of them came over to Bernie and all that? The whole thing is, no matter how we look at it, we don't like the outcome of the presidential race. Okay, we got Democrats that are complaining about Hillary won the popular vote.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, he got the Electoral College.
Oh, boy.
Okay, there's a reason why the Electoral College is there.
Because of gerrymandering.
That has nothing to do with the Electoral College gerrymandering. Okay, the Electoral College is there for the simple fact that we can't have the 6 major cities deciding an election.
Well, but
If you did that, you would be putting out all the rural areas out here that vote, like the whole state of Iowa, maybe.
well, see,
and-
that's
and
so,
all that.
Well, the other reason I kind of disagree with that is because of this. So let's take a school, for example. Let's take either like a mock election, or let's say like, okay, for like people who run for school president or something like that. Some of the classrooms in the school are more heavily populated than others. So one classroom might have 30 to 35 students. Most of the class might have 15 to 20. If you get every classroom in the school to say, well, who do we want as our president between these two? And there's no electoral system to take that place. The will of the most of the vote is going to be determined who the winner is. But the problem is, whoever that winner is, you're still going to have people complain and say, oh, well, that was only determined because this classroom had a higher population. I think the argument is unfair to say people said, well, technically Trump still won the popular vote only because California and New York had higher populations. When they
I don't
when
agree with that
they
part.
completely forget the fact that the state of New York has never liked Donald Trump. Ever since his name became new to the public, the state has always, they've had distrust and disbelief, and they've always hated him. And regardless of how they felt about Hillary, they voted for her regardless.
Okay,
California, New Jersey, same thing.
Yeah, but you still got to remember the Electoral College. If that candidate wins that state, he gets their Electoral College votes automatically.
Yeah.
Well, Hillary won New York, so you're saying the Electoral College in New York, they still went for Hillary.
Yes.
Okay.
Tell me,
If they win that state, they get the Electoral
here's a
College.
fun question.
Yeah.
In the Republican primaries,
Mhm.
was there anyone up there on that podium? Because I know they had to do 2 shows. Was there anyone up there on that podium that you had any respect for?
Out of the Republicans that ran for 2016,
Yeah, because there were, what, 19 at one time.
17.
it was 17.
So I got
Yeah.
up to 19 and they were dropping.
Oh boy.
They kept
I didn't even know they got up to 19. I only knew 17.
That 19
I can't even think of the 17 off the top of my
Well,
head.
the only one, as I said, I like John Kasich.
I don't know enough about him.
He's a little more religious than most, but he had good morals, good ethics. I like, because I don't dislike the Republican Party. I dislike some of the people that are in it. There are some damn good Republicans.
I dislike most of the people in the Republican Party.
But yeah, he wears a
okay.
red shirt. And we got blue shirts on.
Okay. You got 1 point for that.
John McCain I would vote for. Corker, up until he wanted Secretary of State.
John McCain didn't run 2016.
No, he didn't. But the thing with John McCain is...
I'd rather would have him though than Donald Trump or George Bush.
Yeah, well, John McCain, do I agree with everything? No, but he knows the difference between right and wrong. He is still a little on the military side, which, I mean, is understandable. Come on.
A little? Come on now. He wants to cut Medicaid and Social Security for military spending. So he, as a military veteran, I understand that is his belief. It's not something I agree
That
with.
doesn't mean that...
But I respect him as a man, though. I salute anybody who fought for this country, whether you're Democrat or whether you're liberal, conservative, or independent. You fought for this country. Thank you for your patriotism.
When he saw something that was wrong, he said so. And the one thing that he did when he was running against Obama, when he was in a couple of...
He stood up for
debates.
Obama.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And that, I had one election where I ran against a guy named Dr. Sweeta. And Dr. Sweeta, when we ran, everything was on the up and up. We agreed, we disagreed, but everything was fair, everything was above board, and when I lost, it didn't bother me. I was happy for him.
Well, do you want
That's how it should be.
So you still
Glad to
voted
see
for
you're
Obama,
here,
right?
fella.
Well, here's the thing about that. So I never had a disliking towards John McCain.
I did not like that Sarah Palin.
I was never-
I've said this. I want to see a woman president, just not Hillary. Okay.
Okay. I knew he was going to say that.
Because look, for 240 years, us men have been in charge,
Yes.
and we've we've screwed it up.
And
I would
y'all
love to
think
see
an
a woman.
intelligent, articulate
So,
talking woman like
I have
Hillary
actually
buffoon Donald Trump.
Didn't matter what party they were. When there was a woman involved for vice president or president, I voted for him, other than
I
Hillary.
got no problem with it.
So then, but you still voted for Obama, though. How come you didn't vote for McCain in that case?
Because I at the time when I told you I voted for Obama the first time.
No, that's what I'm saying. But he was the one McCain was the one that had a woman on his ticket as far as vice presidential.
But Obama made sense back then because what was Obama's message?
Hope
Change and hope.
Yes.
And he convinced me. Okay.
I voted for Obama
he's
too.
also one of the only presidents that hasn't had a scandal in his presidency that I can think of.
I'm so glad for that.
He was actually very well spoken.
Mm-hmm.
He had class.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
By the
He
way,
had class.
a lot of the people out here, I just want to let you know, my president behaved himself. Yours is not. I'm sorry. But
Let me ask you about that. Okay, a woman who, in today's climate, who is there anybody out there that you would consider
for president?
Yeah.
Okay, well, so there's two.
Don't you say who I think you're going to say.
But
No, I didn't just.
does her name begin with a?
Oh,
Oh, well, that too.
no.
No. I thought he was talking about Hillary Clinton. I was
Oh,
like,
hell no. I'm sorry.
He said it. Not
You
me.
know as well as I
He
do,
said
but
it.
you voted for her. You know of all the corruption that her and Bill have brought into the public field.
But
Wait a minute.
a lot of people look at Hillary and Trump as though they're, well, first of all, before I get on that, let me answer your question. Hold up a second. We're jumping across the board. Let me just answer your question.
Okay.
As far as the Republicans that ran in 2016, I mean, I'm sorry to say this, and it is partisan and biased, but out of that group, I really didn't, either I didn't respect one of them. If some of them I didn't respect, some of them I just didn't know enough about. So I couldn't say I heavily was against them. I'll tell you right now, aside from Donald Trump and Jeb Bush, there's no respect for me personally. I just doesn't speak for everybody else. I don't respect Ted Cruz. I don't respect Ben Carson.
No. I did at one point.
Jeb Bush was to me a waste of time. I don't know what he was even thinking. So he made a good decision by, I don't know if he got beat out or he just dropped out. But
he dropped out.
Okay, so that was a smart decision that he made. Now to answer your question as far as Republicans overall, that I would respect, I can say as we talked about John McCain, I respect him, fought for this country, he's patriotic. I applaud that 100%. He is too conservative for me to vote for him, so I don't trust him per se as president. Mitt Romney, the main thing about Mitt Romney that made me respect him a little more is he did stand up to Ted Cruz for Barack Obama when Ted Cruz went on Twitter and he basically said that Obama is an enabler to terrorism and he's making our country a laughingstock. So I responded to that. I took the tweet to Facebook and I responded to it. I said, so if he made our country a laughingstock, then what do you call George Bush? So then Mitt Romney got on there back on Twitter and he chastised him and he said, hey, respect our president. You can't say that, whatever.
But see,
So that made me think like, okay, so Romney he's not.
that's what we're missing. This partisan stuff.
Colin Powell I can respect too, because I think he
Colin Powell
leans more
is-
independent now. He's not a far right Republican.
Yeah. Now, I would have voted for Colin Powell.
Because he was in, despite being in the Bush administration, he supported and endorsed Obama and Hillary. He was going to endorse Trump at first, but then changed his mind. Now, to answer Todd's question about, okay, so the corruption with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, well, you have a lot of people who, and this is why, like I say, you and Marsha and Shauna and Carmen, all you can agree to this, and if y'all are watching this, I can take on all of you. I'm not scared. I debate this with them all the time, and obviously most of them think that, half of them either think that Hillary and Trump have the same level of corruption, and then you have some of them who think that Hillary is worse. But then what about the other 62 million plus Americans who think that Trump's corruption is worse because he's made overtly racist comments? He hasn't spoken anything against Vladimir Putin. Look at his history, his rental policies, where him and his dad owned apartments in New York they didn't rent to people that were African Americans. He was caught with money laundering. He busted. So it's like there's so much of that history behind it too, and people think that that's less trustworthy than somebody who deleted 30,000 emails or whose husband was messing around with a lot of women.
He's on a phone now that's unprotected. But what I was talking to him about his golf courses, that every time he goes to his golf courses, the federal government takes food and materials and plumbing and everything. Everything has to be taken care of. Plus, 245 to 265 people go with 2 planes, all the Secret Service, all the secretaries, all the press, and they all have to stay there. See, that's taxpayer money going down there. So 102 golf courses, 102 golf course trips to his golf courses. Obama did go to golf courses, but he went to public ones. Yeah, there was a
Well,
pain.
let me put it to you like this.
But wait a minute, what he's doing is he's funneling money and building up his thing at the taxpayer expense, and people can't see that.
Donald Trump has spent more money on vacations in 4 months than Obama did in 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now.
And people. So my thing is, with that in mind, why are people still driven to believe that people say, oh, well, Obama was being lazy and he took all these vacations? Yeah, but your president is spending more money than what the last president did. So
look at the vacation.
And you know, I keep saying your president because Donald Trump isn't my president, but we already got that part established.
No. Look at the days of the vacation time, and you will see the difference. Obama didn't take that much.
Look, the only thing I had
Well, even if
an
he did,
issue
it's
with
still
Obama,
Trump.
and I've said this to you before,
Foreign policy.
as on his foreign policy. I thought he was a little lax on the foreign policy. He didn't stand up as strong as I think he
basically,
should have.
the foreign policy was the only factor. You said you agreed with him on most other things.
Well,
The foreign policy basically was the one thing that deterred a vote for him in 2012.
Yeah.
Despite who he was running against.
Yeah.
Come on now.
You could
Come
talk
on now.
about Bush Senior. Now, Bush Senior, his foreign policy was out the door.
It was out the door, you're right.
I was
His
born at
domestic
the
policy
beginning of
that
the Clinton era, so
Yeah.
I can't heavily opine on Bush Senior either. I think the whole thing with, like I
I
said,
like Bush Senior.
well, I mean, so the other thing about it too is this. So just with what's been going on now, and people say that, you know, he's been doing an amazing job. And I'm not going to lie to you, I fail to see a lot of it. People say that, you know, people also say that the unemployment rate is at an all-time low. A lot of people I see are actually still quite, you know, this might be me personally, people are unemployed. I mean, he reversed the DACA. He had, it seems like a majority of this presidency is what I call a vindictive administration. It seems like his purpose is just to undo and reverse a majority, if not all, of what Barack Obama has done. And that's what he ran his campaign on. And Clinton, as far as, okay, so when he went to the Rust Belt states, he said NAFTA and Obamacare had screwed you, and I'm here to fix it. Well, he left it right at that. And the people that felt that they were screwed by it, they bought into his rhetoric because of how much Donald Trump knows how much that group of people are now feel betrayed by Obama and the Clintons. And that's what he plays off of. And that's how he was able to win those states.
But this also goes back to a lot of the politicians that were there. They come, they get your vote, they don't come around. So, you know, all these things are happening to people and nobody's listening. So here comes a guy who doesn't know any better, who said, he regurgitates back to them what they said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, NAFTA, after he said he was going to take it all out, they were, yeah, take NAFTA out. Then they start to realize, wait a minute, my job is dependent on NAFTA. NAFTA was good.
Well,
this way,
where you're going with that is right there, is when NAFTA was created, all right,
It
it was
was-
based on good things.
yes.
Okay, but what happened is a lot of the manufacturing jobs went south because it was cheaper to pay.
Okay, now I'm going to take issue with that.
Now, once you got down there and they created these jobs, what you're saying is that when we done away with NAFTA or would have done away with NAFTA, then all of a sudden those jobs didn't come back anyways.
No, what I'm saying on that is that the jobs that left the country were left by the people, okay, let's say the rich, the 1%,
Yeah.
who left the country because of their greed. They didn't want to pay taxes. It wasn't that they had to pay 5%, 10%, 40%, 30%. They just didn't want to pay taxes. So they moved their jobs. Why do they give the impression that it was our fault?
Well, you know what?
It wasn't our fault. They moved the factory there, and they made more money.
I
because they
understand
paid
that,
Well,
but
then
that-
stop
it's-
saying that it was the people. It was the people's fault. It was the Democrats' fault.
I never said it was the people.
No, I'm saying that.
Okay, I didn't
Okay, hold on a
say
second there.
it.
Hold on a second there. Calm down there, Dane.
NAFTA did do a lot of good after a while, because now that they want to remove it, now all the people are saying, well, wait a minute, no, you can't do that, because now things are working with it. Is it the greatest? No. Healthcare, even Obama came out and said, look, this isn't perfect. If you want to help me change it, make it better, we can do that. No, scrap.
The only thing I actually know of and can honestly say was good about the ACA or Obamacare as it's known was that it took away the pre-existing.
But some governors, and I will give Snyder credit for this, Snyder upheld it in the state of Michigan, which helped a lot of people. But there were a lot of others who wanted to.
It didn't really help the people when they didn't continue, because what happened is when people go onto the website to get these lower health insurance, okay, half of them are subprime compared to what you could get outside there. And if they go on there, and like every other American out there, and every person in Michigan that went on to Obamacare to get it, they seen the low prices, okay? They seen $300 or $400 a month for health care insurance and said, I can afford that. And that was a good thing, right?
Yeah.
All right, but that $300 or $400 policy had a $5,000 deductible, okay? So the chances are they're never going to utilize that insurance anyways. And then the problem with that is that $400 policy that they're paying for was $1,600 that they didn't see that was being paid for by the taxpayers.
I'm putting an analogy here.
Instead of going about healthcare that way, how about going after the care providers? Okay, let's lower the cost of healthcare by lowering the cost of the providers. And I've used this analogy before. Look at the MRI. MRIs, if you're on Medicaid, which is state funded, the majority of, you're paying just under $500 for the MRI. You go in, if you use Medicare, which is now one of the biggest providers of healthcare because of the baby boomers getting ready to retire, you go get that same exact MRI from the same place, it's just under $700, right? You go over there with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Humana, or any of those third-party insurance companies, it's nearly $5,000 for that same MRI. But yet, today, you can drive right over to Basha in Royal Oak, Michigan, and go up there and say you need an MRI, and it'll cost you $250 cash.
Okay, but let me throw an analogy. You guys are both computer guys.
Yeah.
You've had the Surface Pro computer from Microsoft?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay.
My son got one. Well, Microsoft came up with this thing. They came up with the Surface Pro. And then 6 months later, they took all the complaints about it, and they came out with Surface Pro 1. Then they came out with Surface Pro 2 after 6 more months. In that time, what they did, they listened to everybody's complaints. They looked at them, they fixed them, they improved it. Then the next one. My point is that we should be doing that with what we have. If we have a bill, or like the healthcare, you look at it, see the problems, and fix it. But we don't do that. What we do is 2 things. 1, we blame somebody. Number 1. Number 2, we look to see, what we can get in the pocket. Hey, I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Just take care of me. Mm-hmm. So what we have is government for sale. And that is why we can't fix a problem.
And well, right now, this election in 2018 is Michigan's chance to clean house.
Yes.
We have every seat up for re-election but one.
Which one is that? That's
Gary Peters is the only one that is safe.
Okay, I'm saying this.
Okay, you're talking about this. Oh, you said House. That's right. I'm thinking all Michigan offices. Okay.
All Michigan offices.
Well, then again, hey, well, luckily, thank God Snyder's not up for re-election.
We have a chance,
Say that right
like
now.
you say, clean and start with a clean slate. The old, which has not worked, okay, have they done some things? Well, yeah, I mean, you can't screw up everything. I mean, like you said, ice cream week is in there. That's
And that one
that's my
ticks
favorite.
me off so much.
I have an article that came out of the paper. They spent 2 weeks voting on ice cream week.
Okay.
At our tax dollars.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, ice cream week. Oh, wow. That's earth-shattering. But there's problems in this state that could be fixed. And I think that fresh blood, a new perspective, and
It doesn't have to be just a new,
hold on a
fresh
second. So,
perspective.
wait,
It just needs to level the playing field.
Okay, so let's, you went to, so now it's tax dollars and ice cream. Okay, so
no.
first, wait. So back to your question about, okay, so let me jump on this right quick because I didn't get a chance to answer this question either. So as far as what women I'd like to see as president, honestly, okay, so I'd like to see, I wouldn't mind seeing Jill Stein actually as president. I might be saying that because she's pretty far left, and plus, with her being a green, it would break the 2-party system, which you're in favor of, so you can't argue that part.
Yeah, but not Jill Stein.
I got a problem with
Better than
Joe
Hillary,
Stein.
though, right?
Yeah, better.
Okay, so I got you on
All
there.
right,
So
Jill Stein.
what for me?
Klobuchar
Who?
in
Klobuchar.
I don't know.
Minnesota.
Hobart. That's a governor out there, or who's
No.
it?
No,
She's
she's a senator.
Senator.
Well, here's the thing. I like to see.
okay.
I wouldn't mind seeing like Michelle Obama or
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, maybe. Kirsten Gillibrand seems all right. I don't know too much about her. Kirsten Gillibrand, you know her, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
New
So,
York.
yeah. She's standing out there.
I know a name coming.
Okay, fine. You got it. Okay. So Oprah Winfrey.
I wasn't thinking of her.
Well, you
Well, you were thinking of Hillary Clinton.
No, I was thinking of Tulsa.
I think.
Oh yeah, of course, Tulsi. Yeah.
Who?
Tulsi Gabbard. She's right now she's a congresswoman out in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
And the Democratic Party was attacking her too because she backed Bernie Sanders. And granted, she did vote for Hillary in the general, but that's only because she said that's pretty much she had to. Her and the Clintons are not really.
No. Nobody has to do anything but vote their conscience.
Yeah, but what message is that sending to your voters saying, well, just because my candidate
You know
didn't
what?
win,
If
it means I'm not going to vote?
If everybody, or at least if 60 million would have voted for Jill Stein, we wouldn't have the issue that we have now, because then you wouldn't be this happy or this unhappy.
Well, here's the thing. If Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, and I said this to you earlier, I said if Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, if their names were as well known to the public as Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, or even Bernie Sanders, if one of them had won the election, you're right. I don't think this would be a big issue because, for one, the two-party system will be broken because now we either have a Green or a Libertarian in office.
I'm sorry, Gary Johnson's an idiot.
Hey, at least he's not a Democrat or Republican.
Okay. Point two for Eric. Point two.
I'm winning so far.
His vice president candidate was good. That was Wood, if I remember right.
From Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And plus, I didn't hear anybody saying anything about a level of corruption that was within Stein or Johnson. Pete, that was
Well, they don't have enough
no.
money to get involved in it.
No,
The only thing
Jill
with
Stein-
Gary Johnson was with Aleppo, and I mean, at the time, Aleppo was a big thing in Syria.
Jill Stein
Well-
has been tied to Russia too.
That phone's about to die.
So no, Jill Stein.
Well,
she
we're
had-
almost done,
she had
too.
some problems
Yeah.
too. So it's coming out now, not to the degree of the others, but she had some. But there are good people out there.
You can have people that are corrupted
You
that
know-
don't have as much money as Hillary or Trump.
Look, if, for anybody who's listening to this show, go out and run for office, okay?
Yes.
Go out and run as a Green Party, a
Or
Libertarian,
independent.
an Independent,
Not a
U.S.
Republican.
Tax Party, or
Well, let me-
Constitution Party, Reform Party. To hell with the Democrats and the Republicans. Their system is broken, it's fractured, and I don't care if you get angry with me. I don't care. Just turn around and vote for somebody else other than those two parties so we can fix this corrupt system. And
The one thing about the independents, though, is they can take the best of both. Take a little from here.
Well,
a little from
yeah,
here.
because
You know-
our candidate, Marsha Squire, who might be watching this, thank you for joining if you are watching this. Like Marsha, as an independent who just got on the green ticket, she's running for U.S. Senate, the one I told you she's taking Debbie Stabenow's place. Well, she has supporters, so people who supported, she has Bernie supporters on her side, she has Hillary supporters, she has Trump supporters, and she has people supporting all of the candidates. Now, she contemplated running as a Republican when she first started, or she contemplated running as, okay, what should I run as? At first, I was thinking, maybe Democrat, because Michigan was supposed to be primarily a Democratic state, but seeing as how we went red this time, it's the first time we've went red since Bush Sr., I figured, well, her being an independent probably is her best shot because now it shows that people have woken up from this election that we had. And now people are saying we are tired of these two disastrous parties. So let's bring out a new entity. And I think Michigan is a state that is waking up to see that.
Up here.
And
we
with how much Rick Snyder had screwed up too.
We had a state senator and a state rep who, the state senator, he's moving down to Florida because he doesn't like
Jim Marlowe.
Okay, but
I think I heard of him.
But-
Yeah, he's our senator here.
Okay.
Jacobson, he told me to my face, in 2018, I take over as, or 2019, I take over as state senator. And I said, really? I said, what about the election? No, we own these people.
You said 2019.
Yeah, because that would be January 1st, 2019.
Okay, I got you.
But see, the thing is, he's already got it won. But what he said to me really blew me away because he said, we own these people.
Mhm.
And what do you mean you own them? Are you saying that they don't know any better? Or it's a foregone conclusion. And this he told me in 2015.
Mhm.
We own these people.
With that ownership being said out there, we have to end this show again. We've had another wonderful hour on here. We'd like to
Thank you
thank
for
Erik
coming.
Brantley for showing up
Yes,
on
yes,
here.
yes.
And he's welcome anytime that he wants to join us. I'm looking to get another young
Is there a
lady
third
on
show?
here. Is there a what?
Is there a third show?
Not today.
Oh, God. I was waiting for that. Oh, I was going to.
But I would like to invite Sue Dotson to come onto the show. I have a lot to speak with her, and we'll even let Eric come back with her.
Yes, and to a lot of you that are watching this right now, Michael Beggs said, good job, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Beggs, David Nigmeyer, thank you for joining. And so, a lot of my progressive people who are also running as Greens and Independents and Democrats, also Matthew Miller, who's running for state Senate out in Washtenaw County. I think that would be District 18 for him. Shauna McNally, House District 55, also running for state representative. Jennifer Curlin Green, who's running for governor. Hopefully you all will see this if you haven't watching it right now. And Marsha Squire, who's running for U.S. Senate. Like I said, thank you all for taking the time, and we will continue to promote you guys. Is there anything else that could be?
And here, he's on our show, and he's promoting all his. I like that. So, but we got to hurry up, guys.
I want to thank Ross and Joe for being our directors and putting this show on.
Yes.
Thank you very much. You guys did a great job.
And we are looking for more guests, so
And we did a great
jump
job, too.
on the opportunity
Please.
if you want to be a guest.
And like I said, to Carmen and Sean and the rest of you, hopefully said, if you all were joining this year, this probably will be a 4-hour show instead of a 1 hour.
No,
So-
we don't do those shows.
Thank you for
We stop
tuning
doing
in.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. This
Have a
has
good
been
night.
great. Yes. Okay, this was great. This is great. Schleiger, Lillis. Well, it's. Let me check my phone. Let me see how
Look
many.
at Eric 2024. Watch your cord. Watch your cord.
Oh snap. Okay.
Yeah, I've done that.
Somebody typed in Eric 2024.
Yeah, David Nickmeyer.
Oh boy. Oh my goodness. My life is on the line right now. Well, no, because they told Schleiger to run for governor for president in 2020. And what'd you say to that?
Go to hell.
Exactly. So.
All right, guys, I'm going to end the live feed here. So thank you for joining us. And
That actually was a good.
if anybody else would like to join the show, all you got to do is reach out to me. Have a good night.
Right. Let me see how many people tuned into this.